Okay, here we are. This angle might look familiar to some of you. This is my first recording at home on this desktop. So things are about to go up in quality from here quite a lot. You can see me for first of all. You'll be able to see me while I'm recording from now on. This is going to be very exciting. So I just wanted to come in here before we really get into things and just say like I really appreciate all the excitement that has come from this little project that I've been doing, and I'm really excited that I get to that I'm enjoying it, and also that I get to push it forward into more things that I enjoy. I've never used OBS, which I'm now learning how to do, and it's been really fun. So I really appreciate how excited all of you guys are, and it's really encouraged me to like keep working at it and doing something, because I used to hate recording myself, and I still kind of do. I'm getting to that, but I just like knowing that I have an audience who's going to be excited about what I'm doing, even if it's just because like I need to understand it for the class. I still really appreciate it. It's been really fun. So I guess I'll get into Figma now. All right, here we are back in Figma. This video will be oriented toward the technical side of Project 1, so mostly how to do the thing instead of how to think about the thing. It's a lot more about working in Figma than the design philosophies. I'll consider doing a design philosophies video if that's something that I get some feedback for, but I also think it's a lot more important to discover the how instead of the why for right now. I feel like you guys are all doing very well at making your designs look good. It's just about how do you get Figma to bring your ideas into existence, right? So let's get right into it. First thing we covered was buttons. So I have a button pre-made for us here. I made a rectangle. I placed a text box in it. I grouped them using Command or Control G. And then I used the button on the right over here. It's a diamond with 4 circles to create a component. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over to where I created my component, and I'm going to click on the diamond with a plus. That's to add a variant. And then now that I've added one variant, another plus icon appears below that allows me to create even more. We could have 5 or 6, but really all we're going to need for this one is these first 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my hover state accurate to my example over here. And then I'm going to change the color using color pick. And then I'm going to change the background cover to this color. And then I'm going to do the same for the click state. I'm going to change the color right here to this pink. I'm going to then change the rectangle color to this nice off-white. And now we have our 3 button states. We've got the state that the button looks like when it's just sitting on the page. We've got a state for the button when your mouse is on top of it. And then you've got a state for what it looks like once it's been clicked. So it's clear that you've done something to it, right? But Figma doesn't know when those things happen. So we're going to tell it with the prototype menu. And then once we're in prototype mode, we've got these little dots that appear on the component we have selected. I'm going to drag that to create a tail that's going to tell it what's happening next. And I'm going to drop it on the hover state so that while hovering, it's going to change to variant 2 by linearly dissolving for 100 milliseconds. And you can only click on something once your mouse is already hovering over top of it. So we're going to give our click interaction to the hover state, because it'll always be the hover state once we're in a position where we're able to click on it, right? So once again, I'm going to take our tail and I'm going to drag it and drop it onto the click state. And in this case, because I'm using an iPad, it says on tap, but it's the same thing as on click. It's going to change to variant 3 with the same linear dissolve over 100 milliseconds. So now if I take an instance of this default state and drop it onto my artboard here and run the prototype, we'll have a button that changes to its hover state when I bring my mouse on top of it, and changes to its click state once I've hovered over it and clicked on it once. So that's exactly what we were expecting to do. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. The beautiful things about building your components in a space that it's not going to be seen is you can treat this one basically as the mothership. Anything you do to this one will apply to all the children. And these ones out here that have a open diamond in the layers menu will be considered children. So I can make as many of these as I want. I can have 6 sitting all over the place. And if I decide that instead of default state, this text is now the button state, that changes for all of these. And that's exactly what we want to see. So that's perfect. Anything I do to this parent one applies to the children. But if I go and edit one of the individual children, well, a child doesn't have authority over its parent, so it's going to only apply to itself. This one's the Buiton, because it's not very good at spelling yet, because it's child. And see how that didn't change any of the other ones when changing the default. The mothership component did change all of them. So it's very good to be able to have the infrastructure to say this is what a button looks like, and I'm going to place it in all of these places, but maybe one button needs to say buy now and one button needs to say learn more. You can use the same parent functions to do those same 2 buttons. And so it really increases the versatility of your components very well. Moving on to overlays. This is a big deal for menuing and lots of navigational purposes. So once again, I've got our menu button here in its nice little component. So firstly, I'm going to give it a variant, and I'm going to change its colors a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit darker and a little bit grayer so that we have a hover state. And I'm going to do the same thing as our button. While hovering, change to variant 2, linearly dissolve over 100 milliseconds. Perfect. And now, on our hover state, I'm going to give it the interaction to on tap, open an overlay, which is the overlay I have here, that's oriented to the top left. So basically, the top left corner of this will live in the top left corner of whatever frame it lives inside of. I'm going to not close when clicking outside because we have a close button. So we want this close button to be the way that users close this overlay. And the way I'll do that is the close button is its own group inside of this overlay. And because it's a group, we can give it its own interaction separate from the entire component. And we'll do that simply by clicking on it and either dragging and letting go of the tail, just like we do for everything else, or we can come to the prototype menu and push the plus next to interactions. Since it's not doing much, it'll be on tap, close overlay. So now when you click on this zone, it'll close the overlay. So I'm going to place our menu button here. And the last thing that we want our overlay to do is, instead of dissolving in, we want it to move in from the left, so it feels like it's coming from the left side of the screen. And now we've got a perfect looking overlay. Moving on from overlays, we're moving into drop-down menus, which are a pretty big extension of overlays. It's basically bringing in some of our other understandings of the way that buttons and components are working and applying them all in one space to make it feel more professional. So for this case, we've got a click drop-down button. So in prototype mode, I'm going to bring it to the opened menu click, and on click, it will open an overlay, which is manually placed underneath. And it's going to move in from the top, since this is a header bar. And it'll do that linearly over 100 milliseconds. And for the drop-down menu, or for the hover drop-down, we'll select while hovering. And then all of my other parameters have saved from the last one. So let's make sure that we open overlay, and we manually place it underneath. So now if we go to run, the clicking drop-down menu is going to work exactly as expected. When I click outside of the overlay, it disappears. If I click inside, it lets me interact with it as if it were a menu. However, for the hover drop-down menu, that would be exactly what you expect, except when I go to interact with that menu, the moment I leave my button, it disappears. So that's a real useless menu, isn't it? So let's fix that. Instead of while hovering, I'm going to change this trigger to mouse enter. So while hovering is effectively mouse enter and mouse leave built into one trigger. So it sees both of those things and it interacts with mouse hover in that way. So we can separate those out into individual parts so we can tell Figma when something should open and when something should close based only on mouse position. And that's super helpful for making a website feel sleek and snappy, making it feel really nice and well put together, right? So now that we have mouse enter, we're going to do the same thing, except now Figma doesn't know when the overlay should close because we haven't told it when to do that. So on my mouse hover menu, I'm actually going to give it an interaction over on the right that says mouse leave, close overlay. So now only when my mouse leaves this space will the mouse close. So that makes the menu appear, and then while your mouse is still in the menu, it stays open and lets you interact with it as expected. And then the moment your mouse leaves, either underneath or off the side, it will close by itself. And that makes it feel a lot more snappy and sleek, as I mentioned. So now, mouse enter, it appears and doesn't go away until my mouse comes down here. And that's exactly what we want to see. So these are the kind of things that make a real big difference when it comes to the usability feel. All right, moving on once more. Then we covered sticky and static items in a menu. So this one's super nice and easy to understand. What we're going to do is we have the awesome header that stays with you, and in our prototype settings, our prototype menu, I should say, since prototype settings are down here, under scroll behavior position, I've changed the header to scroll with parent, which is, as expected, just everything on the page scrolls by as normal, to fixed stay in place. So now when I scroll, this will stay at the top of my screen regardless of where on the page I am. This box is going to stay scrolling with parent, but this box should be sticky. So it lives down here, and until I scroll past it, it will stay attached to our background artboard. And the moment it hits the top of our screen, it'll stay there, and it will come with us for the rest of the page, however long that may be. And I'm going to do that by coming over to position in our prototype menu and tell it sticky, stop at top edge. So now if I select my frame and run the prototype, our awesome header that stays with us, indeed, stays with us. The scroll box scrolls by like normal, indeed, and the sticky box moves up, except, oh no, now it's behind our header because it's hitting the top of the screen up here. Well, that's not what we want, because then none of our text appears. So to fix that, what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to put this at the top of our layers, and I'm going to drag it up to where I want it to be when it starts following us. So I want it to live right about here. And then I'm going to select something in this box, and I'm going to push L, or use the line button down here, to create a line that goes from the top of our box to the top of the screen. And this way, we will add it to the group. And now this group has an extension that goes all the way up here, even though the stuff we're actually looking at is way down here. And so now, when we go to scroll, it will hit the top up here because of this line that we've given it, even though the stuff we're looking at seems like it's now floating It just knew where to stop. That's the effect it gives. And to really sell that, I'm going to get rid of the stroke for my line. So my line is still there, you just can't see it. And we're going to run it back down to where I wanted it to be to begin with. Perfect. So now, if I select my frame one more time and go into our prototype, the header stays with us. This box will scroll by as expected, and this box will hit the top way up here because of the line we gave it, and now it stays with us for the rest of the page. And that's exactly what we want to see. So that's how to get around some basic troubles that you might have with the sticky attribute. And moving on, for our last time, we covered color and textiles, and this is something that we've seen in a couple of our other This is something we've seen in a couple of our other classes, like type with InDesign. InDesign uses textiles and color styles, and that's a really easy way to make it so that your design is consistent across the whole thing. So to do that, I'm going to go in and see this nice primary color I have, and I'm going to go to the fill to look for a color style, and I'm going to find color styles in the square made of 4 circles, and this is where we'll be applying our color style, and we'll do that by clicking the plus, and now we can see we're creating a new style. So I'm going to call this our primary blue, and now that appears in this menu. And likewise, when I go to add a style to this green one, now primary blue appears in this menu. But I want to create a new color style by using the plus button again, and this is our secondary green. And then so on and so forth. This is our tertiary pink, and this is our accent yellow. I'm actually going to rename that to accent gold. Make it feel a little more opulent there. And then in the same way that we created color styles, text styles is the same thing, but we're going to be in our typography menu instead of our fill menu. It's the same icon, text styles. I'm going to create a new text style that's called title text. And it's going to take all of the properties from this text that I have selected when creating the text style. So it's Inknut Antiqua regular at 96 with 110.5% line height. It sees all of that and stores that in our text style. And then I'll do that again for our subhead and our body text. Body. And to apply it, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. I'm going to make this text box longer because I know it's going to be too big. I'm going to highlight the text I want to change, or if all the text in a text box, like this one, is what you want to format, then you can just select the text box, and when you apply a text style to it, it will apply to all of the text inside. So it depends on if you have multiple text styles in one text box, or if you want each text box to have its own style. So I'm going to apply title text to this one. Perfect. And then for this one, I'm going to do the same thing and apply subhead. And for this one, I'll apply body. And it makes it super nice and quick to make it easy to change stuff from one text style to the other. So I could turn this text style from title text into body text just like that. Same way. And if I decide that I want to override this text style and make it just a little bit different, I can click on this like crossed out paperclip, or maybe this crossed out chain link, and it keeps everything the same, but it's no longer considered a text style. So I can go in and make my line height 111 instead of 110.5 if I so desire. And that's really everything about learning Figma that we covered in Project 1. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know that we've had some trouble getting all of this stuff to work for Project 1, but I saw what a lot of you guys were working on, and I am super proud of how far all of you have come. It's super cool to see this. It's really fun to make these videos and at least try to help you guys. So I hope you're having fun. I hope Project 2 is going to be a bit easier now that we understand a bit more of the fundamentals of Figma. So I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.